The QGO-M test kit allows you to test total microbial content in any low solids organic-based samples, including oil field waters, metalworking fluids, crude oil, finished fuels, lubricants, and brines. One of the most important steps for any microbiological test is sampling. Be sure to be consistent and take into consideration the application. Collect the recommended sample volume in a clean and contamination-free sample bottle. Ideally, the sample should be tested immediately after sampling for best results, or within 2 hours of collection. The first step is to rehydrate your freeze-dried luminase enzyme. This involves removing the rubber stopper from the amber luminase vial, opening the clear vial of buffer, and pouring it into the amber vial. Let it sit for 5 minutes to completely dissolve, and when the liquid is clear, you're ready to start. If your luminase is already rehydrated, let it come to room temperature before beginning. The luminase enzyme will degrade over time and with exposure to heat and direct sunlight, so the calibration step should be done at least once per day or before each set of samples. This allows you to standardize the enzyme's activity against a known concentration of ATP. To run the standard, hold the UltraCheck bottle vertical and add 2 drops, 100 microliters, of UltraCheck to a new test tube. This is known as the assay tube. Using the blue micropipette and a new pipette tip, add 100 microliters of luminase enzyme to the assay tube. The reaction between the enzyme and ATP will occur right away. Mix well for 5 seconds and insert the tube into the photon master luminometer to take the reading. The measurement should be taken within 5 to 15 seconds for maximum accuracy. Your result should be at least 5,000 RLU. If it's below 5,000, the enzyme is no longer active and the bottle should be discarded. Rehydrate a new vial if this occurs. Now that you have your calibration reading, this value can be used for any samples tested over the next few hours. To test your sample, first make sure your sample is at ambient temperature and mix well before each analysis. Remove the plunger from a 20 milliliter syringe and attach a syringe filter. Be sure not to touch the tip of the filter. Pour the recommended sample volume into the syringe and slowly push the entire sample through the filter and into a waste bottle. This is collecting all the living microorganisms on the filter and removing any potential interferences from chemical treatments. Open a new 9 milliliter Ultralute dilution tube. Remove the filter from the syringe and place it on top of the Ultralute tube to minimize the risk of contamination. Pull the plunger out of the syringe and reattach the filter. This prevents damage and contamination from air being pulled back through the filter. Using a 5 milliliter disposable bulb pipette, add 5 milliliters of LumiClean into the syringe barrel. Pass the LumiClean slowly through the filter and collect it in the waste bottle. Detach the filter and place it on the 9 milliliter Ultralute dilution tube. Remove the plunger from a 60 milliliter syringe and attach the filter to it. Holding the syringe over the waste bottle, push the plunger slowly through the barrel to dry the filter. The same 60 milliliter syringe can be used for up to 20 tests. To extract the ATP, remove the plunger from the original 20 milliliter syringe and reattach the filter. Add 1 milliliter of Ultralyse 7 to the syringe and push the Ultralyse slowly through the filter and collect the solution in the Ultralute dilution tube. Cap and invert to mix. The ATP is now extracted and you're ready to run the assay. Using a new pipette tip, transfer 100 microliters of the Ultralute dilution tube to a new assay tube. With another new pipette tip, add 100 microliters of the luminase enzyme. Again, mix for 5 seconds and take the reading in the luminometer within 5 to 15 seconds. The luminometer records the result in relative light units, RLU, and through a simple calculation done automatically in the software, the result is converted to picograms of ATP per milliliter. Refer to the data interpretation guidelines in your test kit instructions for good control and high-risk ranges. Because every process is different, baselines for each system should be obtained before using ATP to make process control decisions.